talk about an initiative that we have coming. We have Chief Craner, of course, and Terry Jenkins from the American Red Cross. And what we want to talk with you about today, something we're really excited about, is so what we're calling the Smoke Alarm Saturdays. And I'll have Chief Craner give you the details of the background, but obviously that we've had a pretty difficult stretch for our community in terms of fires, in terms of fatalities and fires. And again, I'll let the chief expand on that. So we are, of course, always having conversations over many years about how we can increase awareness, how we can get more smoke alarms into the houses for Pensacolians. But it's even more top of mind now given the stretch that we've been in. So what we're going to do, American Red Cross, is, first of all, we are very, very grateful for their participation. Ultimately, they're providing the smoke alarms at no cost. That would normally be a cost that ourselves, the fire department, the city would have to incur to be able to get those smoke alarms into the homes that need it. So we'll have Terry speak as well, and very, very grateful to them. So we're going to, on October 7th and on October 21st, we're going to be out in 2 different neighborhoods in our city, and that's firefighters. I've actually asked all 7 city council members for their participation in any way, whether that is anything from buying breakfast or come out there and walk with us. So that's October 7th in Creighton Heights, which is just south of Creighton Road, west of Tippin Avenue, that area. And then Saturday, October 21st in the West Side Garden District, which is south of Cervantes, north of Garden, and then kind of between Pace and A Street, that whole area. So we'll do that from 9 a.m. to noon. And again, very, very excited to get this going and very motivated to get this going. I know our fire department is, because we don't like coming up here in front of you and talking about, I would say, probably some of the most difficult moments I've had in this job is getting phone calls from the chief over these fire fatalities, and especially when you start talking about children and how that has negatively impacted our community. So those are the 2 dates, and then I'll pass it to Chief Craner to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to say thank you to Mayor Reeves for his leadership in this situation. It has been very difficult for the city and these communities that have been impacted by these fires, and certainly for our firefighters that deal with that. And what we've identified in these fires that we've had, there's some commonalities, and in a few of them there have been a lack of working smoke alarms. And what you need to know about smoke alarms is smoke alarms give you time to recognize there's a problem and to escape. And in the fire environment that we have now in homes, fires are developing more quickly because of more synthetic materials in the home, and because what used to be a galley kitchen in a ranch home has the wall taken down, and now we want open floor plans, and that limits the ability to confine smoke and confine fire. All of those lead to decreased time to escape, and that's what you need to do in a fire. You need to be able to be notified and escape quickly. Also, if the fire has an opportunity to progress rapidly without you knowing it, it decreases our ability to be notified and to get there quickly. And so we've had a few fires where our firefighters, I cannot say enough about how they operate on these scenes. They absolutely will risk their lives and have made decisions this year to do exactly that with just the chance to save someone. If they can find a window of opportunity with the entire home burning, they will do that and go inside. But with working smoke alarms, you give our firefighters a chance to come find you, and you give your family time to escape. So I'm excited that we have this program, that we're partnering with the American Red Cross. Terry Jenkins, our executive director from our local Red Cross, and we know the Red Cross is very busy throughout the nation right now, and certainly preparing for the storm that's coming. So thank you so much to you for coming here today.
Thank you, Chief and Mayor. Good morning, everybody. So the Red Cross launched in 2014 our Sound the Alarm, Save a Life campaign, aka Home Fire campaign. And the intention for that campaign was to reduce deaths and injuries by 25% over a 5-year period. Now help me with the math, we are 9 years later and the campaign is still going on, because as of August 18th, 1,919 lives across the country have been saved as a direct result of these installation events. And so I'm excited also to partner, with the city. I'm about to hit the year mark in Pensacola. I moved here from South Georgia almost a year ago. And so partnerships are key to what the Red Cross does, and with the fire department on the city and the county side. But thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. The Northwest chapter, we cover 10 counties. And so last year, in 2022, our chapter helped over 300 families. Over 3,200 homes were made safer. And what that means is we actually sit down, and you'll probably see this in effect in October, we sit down with the families and draw out an escape plan for them to help them identify 2 escape doors, in their home. And that's what we count as our homes made safer. And so over 3,200 homes were made safer, and over 700 alarms were installed, from within our chapter jurisdiction. And so again, we're excited to partner. Any questions, that you may have. And also one more thing I thought of, and Kelly Banks, our disaster manager, just walked in, and with our wonderful volunteer, Dick Sutton. But we can also provide disaster mental health services. That's what we offer for the families if they encounter, human loss of everything else. But that is also offered to our partners. So keep in mind, I'm sure that there's a program internally within the city, but that's also an option that we can offer, to our partners as well. So thank you, and I'll stick around for any questions after the fact. Do you want to bring up Kelly? Do you want to recognize Kelly?
She's waving it off.
She's waving it off. So she's our of the 10 counties, Kelly covers 4, and then I have another disaster program manager who handles the other 6. But thank you for allowing us to partner with the city. Appreciate
so
it.
Much. And I just again happy to have Chief Craner, Terry, myself answer any questions that you have. But just I wanted to mention too. So these days that we go out. This will again be with our fire department, with other community. We're certainly asking the city employees want to be involved, but what this will be is going and knocking on doors in these neighborhoods and saying we've got a smoke detector for you, and we're going to put it in for you professionally. And so really not just you can have programs that say, hey, call us for a free smoke detector, but I think it's a little different if we wake you up maybe not too early on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. and tell you we're going to go put this in and take care of it right here for you. So very, very excited to get this started. And again, if there's any questions about that, we'll take them. All right. Thanks so much. All right. Thank you guys for that. While we're talking about fire department, we have some good news. The mold remediation is complete at Fire Station 4. And all the restoration cleaning has been completed, and the personnel is back in at Station 4, which of course is over here on the west side of the city. So big thank you to Public Works, RISC, our fire department. Again, it's not easy to have a station shut down, and I couldn't even comprehend all the complexity that to go through to continue to keep our citizens safe while you're down a station. So very appreciative to our firefighters and Chief Craner and our whole team that we actually got this done ahead of schedule, a little bit sooner than we thought we would. So that's always a good thing. I will say, in terms of any questions as far as, I think we're starting to see the track of the hurricane, and we certainly have our thoughts are with the folks in the rest of the state of Florida. I did reach out to the mayor of Tallahassee yesterday and asked to let me know if there's anything that we can do. And if you have any questions about any kind of updates as far as our role in that, then again, Chief Craner will stick around and she'll be able to answer some of those questions for you. Some other good news, we were able to get a port security grant awarded for a PPD mobile command center. And so that was about a $500,000 grant. And it's got an 80-20 cost share, so the total cost of the mobile command center is about $650,000. The city and PPD will put up about $165,000 of that $650,000. So that will be a mobile command center that will obviously respond with anything port related, and also is just yet another asset that we have to keep us safer, to be able to react and respond in a crisis. And so very, very excited, and a big thank you to PPD and also the Port of Pensacola and their team for getting that across the line. One more update again to please share. Good news, we're at about think we're approaching 700 survey submissions so far on the Haas resident survey. So again, uwf.edu/Haas, HAAS resident survey. And then also there's a number you can call if you'd rather do that, 850-495-2666. And that's between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. Deadline is September 15th. Yeah, and again, I think we're a little over 650 survey completions as well. So very good news on that, and really excited to dig into some of that data. With that, I believe that is it for updates for you guys. Happy to take any questions that you have.
Just real quick, since we have Chief Craner
Yeah.
here for the Red Cross, not that there necessarily would be, but is there any official organized plan here for folks who may be evacuating from Idalia coming here? I know shelters typically wouldn't necessarily be something you would do, but is there any resources we're going to be offering?
Sure. Yeah. Take that.
Currently, there are no shelter openings in Escambia County. Resources that the city and Terry may have something that she can communicate that the Red Cross is coordinating with some of the non-governmental partners. But currently, the city is operating under the state emergency response plan, where we will offer assets as requested. For example, we have an engine company ready to go if we're requested to help with the fire department. Also, the police often offer assets. Our public works team could, our Pensacola energy team could with the utility wing of this. So it's all very well coordinated. We don't just show up, we get a request, and we respond as part of a strike team and in a coordinated way through the State Emergency Operations Center.
Terry, you want
Just like the chief said, we carefully coordinate with the local emergency management agency, so that request would come into Kelly, our disaster manager. We review resources, do call downs with our volunteers, but at this time, no evacuation shelters are being planned. Tallahassee is our headquarters for the Florida and Georgia operation. It's one operation because Georgia will be impacted. So we've had some volunteers from this community already that are already in Tallahassee. And so post-impact, what will happen depending on safety is always priority, for people to be assigned and go out into areas that have been affected. It bypassed us here just like Ian did last year, but Kelly and her wonderful team, they were prepared to open shelters. And when it shifted, all of the resources that we had went to Fort Myers. And so because it shifted, we're helping the headquarters in Tallahassee, and then people will be deployed in various capacity, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, if you don't have a number, no biggie, but do we have an approximate number of people from our area that have gone to Tallahassee to stand ready?
So out of the 10 counties, we have about 12 that are already there. They were in transit yesterday, so they're ready. We're expecting some of the shelters to open on the East Coast side within the next 24 hours, if not sooner. So we are prepared here, though, because now the weather is coming. That's I get the safety pieces that we want to stay here now until the weather has passed it, and then all of our other resources or whatever will end up over there.
And if you follow the all of the Red Cross social media pages for Central Florida, capital area in Tallahassee, you'll see daily updates that the disaster services team gets from the NWS and emergency management. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, what else do you have today?
On Fire Station 4, what was the cost to get that? What did the cost end up being to restore the fire station?
Let me finalize that number just because we had budgeted a number, and of course, it's when you talk about mold remediation, you get in there and you don't know where it ends. I know that we had a positive outcome in that respect, but so I remember a number early on of what we budgeted, but let me find out what the final. We'll circle back with you today. We can get you that number.
And I know you talked about it before, but what's the plan for the future so this doesn't happen to other city facilities? And then maybe a question for the chief is just how does the fire department feel to be back in the building?
Sure. Yeah. Well, while she comes up, it only continues to emphasize the importance of maintaining what we have. So what you'll see, we actually have a second building facilities maintenance position that's being created in this budget for that exact reason. Their primary focus is actually going to be on community centers, on the Parks and Rec side of things, because we have so many, community centers. And my argument is, and I said in the budget workshop, that's a position that should pay for itself exponentially, because if we are on top of something a year sooner, if we see something a year sooner, then the cost that we're expending right now to fix things should never rise to the number that it is if we've got eyes on it. So that's an easy decision for us. Having one building maintenance supervisor position really isn't enough, and our facilities team does an awesome job. But we got a lot of facilities, and I don't know that we're adequately staffed at the high level to be able to keep eyes on everything that we own. And so we've learned our lesson from that, certainly. And moving forward, we're going to be better prepared to help mitigate these costs or prevent these costs altogether, because we've got better eyes on it. But I'll let Chief answer the second question.
Jim, your question was, are the firefighters happy to be back?
What's the feeling at the Calvin Fire Station? What does it mean to be back in that building for the residents to have that?
Well, number one, for the residents, right? We did have a delayed response to certain parts of Station 4's territory related to this relocation, but it was very minimal because they went to our Fire Station 1. And we call them fire stations officially, but they're really firehouses. Our firefighters are there for 24 hours a day, and they do everything there. They sleep there, they exercise, they prepare meals together, and mostly they're preparing for these worst case scenario type situations they may get into at a moment's notice. When they're sleeping, when they're eating, you never know when it's going to happen. They have to be ready to go. And being in your own firehouse makes a big difference with your ability to be ready to respond. So we're very happy to be back in there. I know I speak for all three watches on Engine Company 4 when I say they're happy to be there too. And also their access to our fireboat to respond to get the fireboat if Engine 4 has to go off duty to staff the fireboat is a little easier from that location. So there's a lot of great benefits, and we're excited to be able to provide the full level of service to that community.
All right, Chief, don't go too far. You never know. I don't.
Mayor, good morning.
Good morning.
Could you take us through the city's process relationship now with the Chappie James Memorial? And I've got a follow-up question.
Okay, sure. Well, I apologize if you wore that shirt today. I should have asked let you get the first question. It's football season, so that was my bad. Sorry, John. But yeah, so we have a meeting scheduled with the Chappie James Foundation folks, and so as it stands right now, there was council action that was taken in March of 2022 that had ultimately a license agreement for the city property, of which the memorial is going to be down by the Visit Pensacola office there at the Wayside Park foot of the bridge that you guys are familiar with. That was not signed by either party. After that, it was a 5-0 vote in council, so certainly it's approved to do so. But even that, so that still sits unsigned today. I am meeting with the leadership from the foundation and to try to get on the same page. That license doesn't outline any maintenance expectations of the city, so that was not something that was figured out. Excuse me. That wasn't something that was figured out during that process, but certainly something that's going to be figured out before we get anything signed. So I think it makes a lot of sense to look at a project like this a lot like we look at the Veterans Memorial Park, which is we do have some. We may cut the grass, but they maintain the memorials and things like that. Some kind of arrangement like that seems to be pretty practical, considering we have pretty close precedent to how we've handled that previously. But as I've always told you, I want to be especially mindful of taking on more maintenance in perpetuity, and that's we're breaking the habit of just because somebody wants the city to do something that we take on an endless bill to the taxpayer. So I want to make sure that we always have, before we take it on, it is the duty of the city to take that on in some instances, and I think when it makes the community better and it has a positive impact, we should entertain it. But we're going to be thoughtful, and we're going to be meticulous about what we're signing up for. And when I say we, that's what we are signing the taxpayer up to provide. So we got a lot of needs in this city, and we want to be very, very careful about what we sign up for forever.
Follow-up question. The foundation was in front of the Tourism Development Committee about 3 weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. and they had an ask for tourism development money to finish, I think, the last piece of what they needed. And it kind of got bogged down in debate over who owned the property. Was it really a tourism project? Would it attract tourism? I think City Council person Brock actually said to her colleagues there, I think we're playing a cat and mouse game with this project. And so they punted. They decided they would wait for the city to clarify who really owns this.
Yeah.
And my question for you here is, do you think that the Chappie James Plaza is has tourism related value? You're a place-making mayor. Would you be willing to address the TDC with a letter or in person on the value of tourism to the city of Pensacola?
Yeah, so first, I wasn't at the meeting, so I'd hate to speculate too far into what was said or not said. The only clarification I want to make is it's very clear who owns the property. I think that was maybe misstated on my behalf, innocently misstated. I think it's pretty clear who owns the property. I mean, the city owns that parcel. That's not what's in question. I think perhaps what was in question is who has license to use it and all that, and that's where it sits right now. So as we stand here today, there is no formal agreement signed, only been voted on by council, signed for that parcel. But again, that's why we're meeting with their leadership to get all of that figured out and buttoned up. That's what our hope is. As far as the TDC dollars, again, I think you're going to have to talk to them about what they believe are tourism uses and not. There are restrictions to it. I do vaguely recall some of those things as Visit Pensacola board chair, where you can't use it on infrastructure, you can't use it on some certain things. So again, I'm not schooled up enough to be able to say what you can and can't use it on. I do think it would be a positive amenity for the community, but I would certainly defer to that board on whether that they see that as the rightful use of the $750,000 ask.
Mayor, has there been any more discussion on the property across in the SEI building as far as grocery store? Where's that discussion?
Yeah, so I know that there was a little bit of a snag, as expected, a little bit of a snag with some finance, considering the market right now and the channels of financing. What we've been told by the developer is that they're continuing to pursue a financing option that just may take longer to get implemented into place. So we have not been told that it isn't happening or anything like that, but as so many projects around the city have been, as I said to you this morning, the fact that we even have pencils up right now, considering the interest rates, considering the cost of money. And the other factor in this is it's not just the interest rate on these commercial loans, the amount of money. If you borrow $50 million, I mean, we're talking significant portions of cash that have to go up against that 50. So it's not just the rate, it's the price of money. And so certainly, fingers crossed, we need units, we need apartments, we need housing. We have not been told, and the last update is that things continue to move forward. We're just in a holding pattern, waiting on another financing alternative.
So the city's commitment on infrastructure is dependent on them being able.
It is. So we were very clear about that we said, hey, we don't mind participating, but we want to know that it's going to happen. And as a matter of fact, even our participation, if we were to start to expend funds, they have certain benchmarks of which we would be able to claw it back if they didn't meet. So we put some of that in place for that exact reason. Not because that's what they want or that's what we want, is that markets change and all of that. And, when we're participatory in something that helps both the developer and what I think is great for the city, I feel like there should be accountability on both sides as well to make sure that when our tax dollars go up, that we're realizing the potential of what we paid for. So those clawbacks are, those terms are in place, but we won't be expending any dollars until we hit certain benchmarks as well. So we are not moving on any of the Spring Street improvements or anything like that until the developer's a little further down the road. Anything else? All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.